Can you hear now? You hear me?
Yeah.
It's, let me see. Okay, there's something going on here. Somebody turn off the microphone. Headset with microphone. Okay. right out of the box.
He's there?
Okay, left ear, right ear. Say headphones with microphone.
Testing. You guys hear me? Here? Everybody here? Jose, say something. But I can't hear anybody.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Perfect. Okay. I still don't see him. City Council meeting of July 7th, 2020, July 7th, 2020 has come to order. May we stand up for Pledge of Allegiance? Mr. Wells, would you please lead us in Pledge of Allegiance?
Please render the salute. I
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. This is a moment of silence for our first responders and military members. Please be seated. May I have a roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilmember Baptista. Councilmember Aguilar.
Present.
Councilmember King.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia. Mayor Samra.
Present.
For the record, council members, Mayor Pro Tem are in attendance.
Thank you. Closed session announcements. There were no closed session today, so there's no reportable action. Changes the agenda. If not, if there's no change to the agenda, we'll go on to item number 1. This is the
Mayor, item number 4 needs to be pulled.
oh, is that okay? Is that being pulled?
Item number 4 needs to be pulled. That's it.
For separate discussion?
No, from the agenda.
Okay. Any other changes? I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Warrant number 2692. I don't want it pulled, I just want it second.
Okay.
269. 2692.
Okay.
You can hear that one.
Okay. Right, item number 1. This is the awards certificate of award for Illustration America, a local periodic contest for students grades K through 8 and current students of particular abilities. And we have presentations by Mr. Wells, Dennis Wells. And, okay, I'm sorry, and Andrea, go ahead, please. Okay, hold on. Hold on. What device is he using? Which phone's he on?
That's a public. Move again.
Go ahead, Mr. Wells. Andrea?
And also Councilwoman Maria Baptista, along with Commander Andrea Segovia, to please come in front of the podium for the presentation. This award is for that was sponsored by our building. And we have 24 middle school students, which is the ages for grades 6 through 8, who participated in it this year. And I would like to start off with the third place winner. And we if they're present, would you please step forward?
Illustrated American Art Contest, and me, Ekwan, from the DFW Women's Military, age 8-7 at 0 level, third place. In recreation of excellence in the patriotic art.
On behalf of the city council and congratulations.
They were reading it.
On behalf of the city of Livingston, this is a recognition award for Annie Atwell in recognition of illustrating America in the local patriotic art contest for students K through 8 that encourages the artistic abilities and promotes Americanism. The Livingston Council, city manager, and staff commend you for your illustrating America art. And I also just want to put in there that at some point the VFW will be displaying their artwork in Kaiju Hall, so you'll be able to see our third place winners, our second place winners, and the first place winners. Congratulations.
The second place winner, Arnold,
Which
here. Third place winner, Zachariah Duran.
Zachariah, on behalf of the Veterans Affirm Award for 08327, Illustrating America Art Contest, in recognition of excellence in the patriotic art competition. Congratulations.
And on behalf of the city of Livingston, recognition award for the Illustrating America local patriotic art contest for students K through 8 that encourages students' artistic abilities and promotes Americanism. The Livingston City Council, city manager, and staff commend you for illustrating America. Congratulations.
This is the summer contest came off by the one for the high school students, it's a $10,000 national award. They win that. We did have one entry this year, and we also wanted entry. I get that information too. And there were some other students that I would like to read their names so that they can also be recognized. Ryan Ayala, Nita De La Fuente, Mr. Nora Susan, Eileen Dominguez, Diego Dominguez, Ian Guerrero, Amanda Hurd, Fernando James, Yvonne Vaughn, Angel Kim, Miguel Mejia, Haley Morrison, Angel Reyes, Samuel Reynoso, Doreen Stanton, Louise Salazar, Bertram Singh, Marco Solorio, Alexandra Esquez, Saran, and I hope I didn't butcher anything I would like to thank the city also for allowing us to use it, but I would really like to thank the city for putting out the veteran parking lot. Thank you for.
Everybody, every council member supports our veterans parks. We have two particularly engaged with Garcia. They really wanted those signs, so I just want to acknowledge that how much they committed to the veterans here. That's all it was. So, but on the other side of it, we can never repay our debt to our veterans either. If putting up a little sign does something, that's nothing compared to what they've done to all of us. So I really, we always have a debt that we can never repay to our veterans. Just to everybody else. So I just want to say that.
Thank you very much.
So our next item is Supervisor Rodrigo's reports. There's already a phone there, Supervisor. You can use that.
Well, first of all, before I start, I want to thank the administration and the council, the mayor, all the council, the staff for working with the county on and everything related to the social issues. And it was Is better?
They try to take your mask off.
Better? Better?
Go ahead. Same.
Yeah, unmuted.
Is that better enough? Let me lower it down. Okay. Is that better now?
Yeah.
Okay. It's probably too loud. All right. So I just wanted to say that you know, hopefully working together, everybody doing their little bit effort can wear masks, and you know, I know that we just went through 4th of July, and there's still a lot of parties going on, and hopefully you know, this virus will stabilize a little bit and eventually go down. But I know the parties keep increasing, and you know, people have to learn to probably just stop partying for a while if we all want to stay healthy for a while. Other than that, I had a meeting with Jim Costa yesterday, together with the county chief executive officer. He was calling most of the counties in the valley just to express his support for the county and for all the cities in Merced County. He was showing his support for the continued testing at the county fairgrounds. And, hopefully when we receive, I know that the state is probably going to remove it, but hopefully once we receive our CARES Act funding in the county, we continue funding the more testing, increased testing for the COVID at the fairgrounds. He also expresses support and congratulated us on closing the parks over the holidays, especially the 4th of July. And he expressed that he's working with Adam Gray on funding for the Dos Palos water algae problems. So they're trying to get a grant for Dos Palos so they can mitigate the water problem over there. I've also, over the past week or two, I've been receiving complaints about certain bars around the county that tend not to close, with all these issues. And I know the state issued the order about closing the bars. So hopefully some bars have been cited and by ABC and by some agencies. So hopefully that will close it for a while until, our numbers go down or stabilize. I also had a meeting a couple of weeks ago regarding the ACE train station here in Livingston. I met with the mayor and the city manager in regards to the support from businesses, especially Foster Farms, Gallo Winery, and Mr. Vieira, which owns the property next to the trains, the train tracks by Main Street, which we're trying to get the station to stop, the ACE train to stop in Livingston instead of Atwater, which makes more sense. Nothing against Atwater, they think they deserve it, but also we're trying to make a better case that saying that we're farther away from Merced. If they was put that station in Atwater, it would only be 2-3 minutes for them to stop in Merced. So it makes no sense putting 2 stops on the way to. We're trying to be more efficient in regards to picking up, the passengers and making less stops. Why are you going to make a stop 2-3 minutes before Merced? So, so we're working with the city and the county and the businesses, and also with state agencies to try to get the train station here in Livingston. I've also been working with our public works department in the county, addressing the Dwight Road north of Walnut, which is very terrible as soon as you leave the city limits all the way to Olive and around Olive, it's very dilapidated, and we're trying to get that addressed. So hopefully we can repave those streets. And also that small piece between Campbell Road and on Dwight, Campbell Road between the Dwight and the new homes as well over there by the freeway. Magnolia and Lincoln Boulevard south of the city limits all the way to West Side. It's got many potholes, but I'm trying to get it paved as well through the county. I was driving by Magnolia and I saw a pothole this big. I asked my son to step on it, took a picture, and sent it to our public works department, and the road is just terrible. I know they already did Sultana and Peach over here west of Robin, so they're just finishing up that one. So hopefully we can get more roads around Livingston pretty soon. Other than that, that's all I have for now. Unless you have any questions for me.
Does anybody have any questions for Councilmember? Supervisor Espinosa?
Anything from the public? I also just, before I leave, I just want to thank Patricia Ramos Anderson here in the public that has always been doing a wonderful job on advertising for the census, make sure that everyone gets counted throughout Merced County and of course other states. So we need as much revenue in our county and in our state to make sure that we pay for all the services. Also, a big thank you to Jose Moran which is always posting videos about census and other things. So hopefully this year, I'll be nominating him for a volunteer of the year because he's already doing enough in the city of Livingston, and I thank him for that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Staff announcements and report. Okay. Where's Anthony?
Can you hear me? Good evening, Mayor, council members, members of the public. Anthony Chavarria. I'm here this evening to present our monthly Public Works report for the month of June. A quick overview of our departments. Our operations department, the guys have been doing the day-to-day operations of all the well treatment sites, lift stations, the wastewater treatment plant, meter reading and meter installations, meter accuracy tests. The meter accuracy test, sometimes we have residents that are concerned about whether their meter's reading correctly. Most of the time we get calls that they think their meter's overreading. So what Public Works does, the residents can call our Public Works office and we'll send a staff out to your residence and perform a calibration accuracy test, a meter test. So what we do is we run 5 gallons through the resident's meter. And at the same time, we're running that same water through a calibrated meter. And then we'll check accuracy between both of them. Now, most of the time, or all the time, as the meter ages, it never overreads, it always underreads. So you have a meter that's been there for 10, 15 years and call us out there most.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So the streets maintenance department, you guys have been working on Measure V projects, vegetation abatement, street sweeping, and assisting the parks department. The parks and L&D department, they've been working on sprinkler repairs, park maintenance, landscape district maintenance, and right now is their busy season. It's warm weather and weeds are growing rather quickly. Fleet, the guys have been working on the day-to-day maintenance of all public works, fire, and police vehicles and assisting other departments. Our administration has been working on encroachment permits, citizen concern requests, vegetation abatement, and processing work order requests. Supervisor, can you turn a couple of the lights off there? Switch. There you go. So here's a picture on the left of Tommy doing some sludge judging. We had some issues with our clarifier, so they had to dewater the clarifier. You can see on the right, starting to dewater it. Picture on the left here. fully dewatered. You see how deep that is. We have an employee down there working on repairing part of the mechanical equipment on the bottom, which is a sludge skimmer. And what happened there was we have some large bolts that hold that straight, and the bolts broke and it fell, so the motor torqued out. And this was a really large project for them. And my hat's off to them. They did a great job, saved us some money by not having to call a contractor. You guys were able to do this in-house. It's a picture of the Frederick Warden light pole project. Our Parks and L&D staff running the trencher to help run some conduit. There's a picture of the new light pole. You guys have been working on some alley cleanups. We have some people that dump illegally in our alleys. Some of our street department staff working on crack sealing. Or LMD cleanup pictures. As you can see, this is our busy season right now. Everything's growing. A lot of vegetation that needs to be trimmed, cut, and maintained. Picture in the middle is of a water leak repair project at Memorial Park. Fleet department working on, picture on the left is Ivan, one of our mechanics, working on a police vehicle. And the picture on the right is of Art, one of our special projects, applying a graffiti protection on our latest Yamato cutout. WINTON Parkway 99 project is, I'm sure all the community members have seen that work going on right now. Picture on the left, the contractors out there compacting the site and relocating some utilities in that area. Started forming for the retaining wall and setting up the rebar. That project is projected to be completed mid-September. Is that correct, Mario? There's a couple pictures of our contractor at the replacement well 8 test hole. The contractor drilled that hole to 500 feet. And we drilled a little deeper because we're looking, we pulled samples at different intervals within that drill, at different lengths. We're looking for quality and quantity, make sure we have enough water to pump, and we need to make sure we have quality. We may have TCP at higher levels at 300 feet compared to 500 feet, or arsenic at so many feet. So we're sampling within that drill site to make sure we have the best quality and quantity. Some volunteer work, some hardworking women there at the Rose Garden project. Now, Jose Moran was there and he was working. I did see him. When I took the picture, though, I think he was in the shade taking a break or supervising. It's a picture of our cutout, our 3 cutouts out there on Whitten and B Street. Staff did put up a new redwood fence there. Next project will refurbish the Welcome to Livingston sign, brighten that up. That's the end of my presentation. You have to answer any questions from council, public, if you have any.
Council, any questions for Public Works? You can unmute your own mic if you wish. No? Go ahead. I unmuted you.
Yes. We're just thinking, it's a little soon right now, but we're just thinking to keep it the same, just to spruce it up a little bit, because the colors are faded because of all the sunlight hitting it. So we didn't want to stain it again, same colors, and paint it yellow again, and ask the Rotary Club and whoever's signage is on there for new signage, because it's pretty faded. But if council has any recommendation or direction, I'd be happy to entertain that as well.
Okay, anybody else?
Hi, my question is in regards to the filling in of the roads that you were showing, like you were patching them up.
Yes.
Is that just a temporary fix until they get repaved again? Or
No.
is there a window of,
The crack sealing, that's called crack sealing in the picture that I showed earlier. So what that does is just help prolong the life expectancy of that road. Because when those cracks develop and we go through periods of precipitation events, the water starts to seep underneath and create problems, and
Okay.
the
What number is it?
base underneath starts to fail, and it starts to crack even more, and you start seeing more alligator cracking. So that's just a treatment technique that's used to seal the road. We're working on a project right now to where we complete a lot of crack sealing, like by Main Street, Crusoe, and in anticipation for another project that we'll be doing some slurry seal. So we'll be crack sealing those and putting a slurry seal on top to make the road look newer, just to prolong the life expectancy of the roads.
okay, so you all just analyze the roads throughout the town of
Yes, we have a
Livingston,
pavement management system,
where
so
you
that,
just this temporary fix, so to
Yeah.
extend the lifetime, like you said.
yes, exactly.
Where Rodrigo stated some of those potholes that are way out in the country, those will be priority versus the ones throughout the town that are being patched up.
Yeah, so any potholes that residents see in town, we ask you, the community, to call in Public Works, and we'll get those taken care of. If you guys see, if the residents see larger cracks, please call into Public Works so we could try to prioritize or go out and inspect, staff will go out and inspect to see if we could possibly cut those cracks out and put new pavement through there. We've done quite a few projects already to where we've taken care of large cracks, large cracks going across the road. We did that on Main Street as well, between E and Peach.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Mr. Moran?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to mention in regards to the new lighting at the park, that was a job well done. That has reduced the number of bad behaviors late at night in that park. And it looks a lot safer with the lighting, with the new lighting. So I really appreciate that. And the neighbors, I think they've been able to see the difference. So great job on that. And I think it's primarily for safety.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else from the public? If not, then we'll go on to Chief. Anything to report? Okay, engineering? Recreation? Mr. Ramirez?
Yes. Can you unmute me, Mayor?
You can unmute yourself. No, unmute yourself.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Honorable Mayor and Council. I do have a few items to report. So, one item that I wanted to cover today, and it's up to Council. As you know, the League of California Cities is moving ahead with their expo this year and conference as of right now. So it's between October 7th through the 9th of this year. one of the important aspects of the actual delegation is the voting. So the council needs to designate a couple of individuals, the person who's going to vote, and then an alternate vote designee. So don't have to do this tonight, but I just wanted to at least alert you of the council action. We have to do this by August 31st, so we do have a few meetings in between now and then. I also wanted to share, of course, Patricia's here, and she'll more than likely going to cover some of this or during the council women's portion of the agenda as it relates to the establishment of a census caravan. So I'll just mention that, but you guys will cover that once you guys get there. Okay. One other item that I wanted to cover, we really don't have this specific section within the city or city ordinance, but for instance, we've been having some inquiries as of late from the Rancho San Miguel, the CVS, about allowing the possibility of like a snow cone, a cupcake, or what's the other one? Popcorn vendor on the actual parking lot within that commons area. And that area is really not clear within the city ordinance. So I'm not 100% sure what council might think about allowing such to take place on that area. But I did want to get some feedback from council. Otherwise, I was going to direct staff to not allow it. But because it's vague, we can go either way. But I wanted to get at least some consensus from the council in terms of going one way or the other. Mr. Mayor?
I broke up. Can you repeat that a little bit?
Yes. So currently we have an ordinance that's not too clear as it relates to having snow cone. These are just examples, either snow cone or cupcake or popcorn vendors on the common area where Rancho San Miguel and CVS is, and they would like to lease out some space within the parking lot where they come and go every day and sell those particular items. And so I wanted to get some direction and some consensus from the council, whether or not that's something that you guys want to allow at this point until we clarify that, or not allow at all. So I'm just asking for some direction.
Yeah. We can just give you consensus here. We don't have to agendize anything.
That's correct.
Mr. Aguilar?
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I think what they're asking, or those businesses are asking, is, for example, like you mentioned, the cupcake lady that will on her social media will put something out that she's gonna be at a certain location, so she has a following. In my opinion, I think the more services, the more type of things like that for the community, I think it's good. I know other cities do it all the time. Atwater, Merced, you see it often. So I don't think it's a bad thing for the city. I mean, it gives more options for people that are looking for goods or, buy something, or while they're at CVS or Rite Aid or Rancho, they have the opportunity to buy snacks or whatnot. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think we should allow it, or at least come up with a policy that would work for everybody, or clarify that more.
Mr. King?
I agree with Juan. I think we should allow them for right now.
Did you unmute yourself?
Yes, can you hear me?
Can you bring it closer? Yeah, there you go.
Yes, I think we should allow them, like Juan said, for a couple of days, they know the following, so the residents know exactly where to go instead of them driving around. I think it's a good idea to keep them.
Okay.
I just think we need more.
You got to unmute yourself.
I think we need more time to.
No.
Try it again. Try it again. Hmm?
Juan?
There you go.
Okay, I just think we need more time to discuss this because what I'm seeing is we've worked in the past with several kind of, and when you say people coming out with snow cones and popcorn, I'm thinking small time vendors with a push cart, and then we're talking over here, cupcake ladies. So those are different types of vendors that we're thinking. So I think we need to just get on the same page and understand who's coming in. These are small businesses, privately owned, would love to support them, but trying to figure out some type of cycling that they have to use that area, and how is that going to benefit the city? I mean, leasing it, I mean, those are a lot of questions. And, you know, for what amount, and do they split some percentage of their sales to us? It's a lot, because it's going to be a vendor war if we're only allowing a space. And I've seen vendors work before, and it's workable, but
let me give some clarification so that it'll help you a lot more. Number one, let's say that we go ahead and allow them. It still would be up to the owner to allow them to use their space in order to be able to sell their product. And they would be stationary. They wouldn't necessarily be moving around. One, because it wouldn't be feasible for them because they would have to deal with multiple people, multiple owners. They would still be required to pull a city business license and everything. And the key piece here is, one, they'll be stationary, and two, they would have to have permission, whether it be by CVS, Rite Aid, or Rancho San Miguel. In the typical year, we've probably gotten about 4 or 5, not a flood of vendors of this type. And it's not a push cart. It's literally, I'm sure you've probably seen them in different places where they're either being pulled by a truck, or they look like a taco truck, but they're not a taco truck. They're only doing, you typically see these at the fairs or the carnivals and things of that nature. And those would be the parameters. They still would have to follow our guidelines, but because it's vague, that's why I'm asking a little bit of direction.
Okay, thank you for that. Because it is
okay, thank you for that. Because it is vague, I think more time to outline something.
Could I say something real quick? So you're asking for direction to proceed in regards to allowing it or not allowing it. So I would say just bring it to the table, and then we could decide and have all the information on there in regards to what specifically are they asking, what specifically requests have they made to the city, how would it work, what kind of fees would they have to pay, and then we can make a decision, because then we're just gonna, sit on it. I know people want to get business going or get those opportunities. So maybe I would say bring it to the table with all that information, and then we could discuss it up here, and then make a decision.
Okay.
So that's it. Yeah, I agree. Go ahead and bring it to the people, to bring it forward. That way we have a little better idea. It's kind of hard to figure out exactly who wants what, it's difficult. You got to be a little bit sensitive to that they don't directly compete with business we have here, because, you got to be fair to everybody too, somebody come in with a truck that they have no overhead costs like other businesses do. So I would like to see that come as well.
Sounds good. Okay.
I got a good question, Jose. Like you said, so everybody but taco trucks will come, or they're gonna be one of the options also?
So it would be everybody else except taco trucks, because the taco trucks, we specifically have a policy and an ordinance around that, and it's based on population. So anybody else that would be in a stationary location and have the permission of the business is what I'm talking about. Because so far, we've said no to every business that has presented itself that's been wanting to partner up with one of the local businesses. And so since I received several over the course of the year, and we don't have a clear direction currently in unwritten ordinance, that's why I bring it. I wanted to at least alert you what's happening, kind of get your feedback. And then that way we can go back, and if it's actually create an ordinance specific to that, we can do that, or put some parameters and go about it with some parameters, or leave it as is, whatever you want.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Council?
No, that'll be it.
Okay, Mr. Ramirez, continue.
Yes, I have a few more items real quickly here. Just letting council know that next meeting, we will be having a public hearing as it relates to the CFD for the annexation of the Golden Bear physical therapy and Domino's and the other place down there. So that'll be at the next meeting. In addition to that, wanted to alert the council that I'm working with the California Emerging Technology Fund and several others in trying to get the governor to do a broadband for all and include money in the budget so that there can be broadband deployment here in the Central Valley. We always needed it, but now even more so, especially the schools, because as you can tell, speed matters and connectivity matters. So I'm going to continue to support those efforts and legislation in that direction. And lastly, I just wanted to let you guys know that on the 12th of August, we are planning tentatively right now, depending on what happens with this COVID-19, but we are planning another session, general plan session, invite the public, different stakeholders to come on out, give their input, because we started the general plan process and it's going to take a while, but we want to get a lot of feedback from our businesses, our residents, and stakeholders. That's August 12th. It's going to be right here in front of the council chambers at the park. And it's very important that you guys look at participating in that. Tied to that is recently there's been another project here close by that has done a biological report, and it turns out that there is a protective species, the Swenson hawk, that came about. And so that's going to have some dynamic influence on our general plan. So we have to come up with a mitigation plan of sorts so that there's not a undue burden set on the city and those who are trying to develop around here while protecting the endangered species in this area, or threatened species. So I just wanted to let you know that. And that's all I have, Mayor, for now. If you have any questions.
Council, any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. And the topic of the COVID-19 situation that's affecting our community, can you talk about what the city is continually doing? Can you talk about city hall hours, access to parks, kind of an update of what's been going on in regards to our efforts, the state policy now requiring masks, a little bit, just touch bases, please.
Yes, thank you. So absolutely. As it relates to our current hours are between 8 and 12. And so anybody who wants to be able to pay their water bills or come and speak to staff directly, we do have a time frame between 8 and 12. If the lobby is closed at 12, that doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot speak to any of the staffers. we can make special arrangements and you're allowed to continue to do business up until 5 o'clock. Okay? And as it relates to the mandatory face coverings, can you hear me okay? Yeah. As it relates to the mandatory face coverings, as you know, that the governor issued a mandatory face coverings when you're in the public. So that's a requirement, whether you go indoors or outdoor when you're with the public. So that's mandatory. In addition to that, hopefully the numbers don't continue to go up because as you know, we were at 2.5 going on to 3.0. And now because of the number of cases, we've actually gone back down to 2.0. So the restaurants, no more indoor dining. You can have outdoor dining. And you've probably seen some of the restaurants out here put some tables and chairs outside. We're providing all the flexibility that we can for that purpose. You can also do takeout. No indoor dining, outdoor dining, yes, and takeout, yes. Bars are not supposed to be open. We, of course, only have really typically only one here. And outside the area here, as the supervisor alluded to, Cozy Corner has been, we received numerous calls and complaints about that being open. I will tell you that there's been a lot of cases of people being, contracting the virus, okay? And I don't want to necessarily single that out, but people that actually got sick said that 2 days after they visited that place, this, whether it's true or not, that's not me to determine. I just passing along the information. And we'll continue to take electronic copies, or you can drop off copies of plans. So the city is still continuing to operate, just with a little different format. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to give us a call. Thank you.
Also, real quick, the parks in regards to renting sitting sections of the park, all that parks are closed, correct?
Yes, parks are closed. Just at the beginning, so you can't rent any of the facilities. However, people can still go out there and exercises, making sure they follow the protocols in place. There's organized sports. As of right now, those organized sports are following protocols. They can use the facilities, and there's a chance that they might have to scale back on that as well. It all depends on how the county is going to look like in the coming weeks. Hopefully, the curve is flattened and we can continue to operate as we are currently.
Anything else? Anything else, Mr. Ramirez?
No.
Okay, Vanessa, I think I missed you. Do you have anything to add?
Well, she's prepping up. Let me just share also as it relates to the budget. So we anticipate by this Friday being able to give council their packet, their budget, so that we have a couple of weeks for review. Then we plan on having a workshop. We plan on having another workshop, and then we're looking at adopting it. But if the council wishes to have more workshops in between, then we can also make adjustments for that. We will want to give you as much time as possible to review and ask questions.
Okay. Vanessa, do you have anything to add? Maybe she doesn't. So, okay, we'll move on to city council member announcements and reports. Strickler?
You guys hear me? Yeah? Okay, I've been working, just a heads up, I'll be coming to council, but I've been working with Trevor, our city attorney, along with the California Health Collaborative, with the ladies Bao and Alina, in regards to bringing a responsible policy with regards to flavored tobacco and vaping. So I know that I've been working, I know brought it up before, but I've been working with them for some time, and we've been making some progress, and we'll be bringing some options to council we could discuss, and if the council agrees, adopt a responsible resolution to you know, for our youth and advocate for their well-being. I know I received a lot of texts and calls regarding the illegal fireworks on 4th of July. I know that there were efforts made by the police department to address that. I know it might be wanting to do more. You know, there's a lot of people with PTSD out there, the pets, the dangers of fires and injuries. So that's something that we need to look at further the next year. Attended the Recreation Commission, attended the larger than life cutout reveal ceremony. Once again, that's highlighting our diverse community. Great artistic projects made by Joel Aguilar, which did an excellent job. I also took my semi-annual drive around with the city manager along with council member Kang. And I usually like to do that to have to point out things to be addressed regarding from crosswalks, sidewalks, different things, you know, visibility and all of that. So it was productive around the town. That's about it.
Okay. Councilman Batista?
Last their chicken dinner, and I want to thank all of you for coming out and supporting that. We did have council members present there and the public. I also want to announce on behalf of the VFW that they will also be having a pulled pork dinner the end of July, July 30th, in the same fashion that they had their chicken dinner. So if that could be placed on the marquee again to advertise that for the VFW. And while they're here, and I wanted to speak with Anthony in regards to the area that the gateway areas where the signs, where the welcoming signs are, is also a planned, and I've discussed this with Mr. Wells, is also presenting or having American flag present out there in those areas as well, so that it is truly a gateway into Livingston and highlighting and unifying the community. So again, if that could be a discussion at another time, that'd be appreciated. I also attended the recognition meeting as well, and the reports on that later. And Ms. Ramos, Mr. Ramos, are you going to speak on the comment? Okay, so I'll let Patricia speak on census. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And for me, I don't have anything at this time. So at this time, we'll move to citizens' comments. Members of the public who are wishing to address the city council on any item not otherwise on the agenda, please come forward at this time. Does anybody wish to comment? Okay. We need to. Try now.
Oh, okay. I got unmuted. Okay. Thank you, everyone. It's great to be back and see Livingston, one of my favorite little towns and full of character. For me, with the census, we are getting to that hump because of COVID-19. It was struggling, but what we're doing nationwide, not just countywide, this is nationwide, is that we're encouraging the leaders of their communities and their cities and towns to help us get out and get people motivated to get counted by calling in or even doing it online. Calling in is really going to be effective for us at this time and moment so people can get counted now. What we're doing is with the caravans, we are having elected officials, school district officials, leaders, various departments hold like a caravan that goes through the lowest response count area. By them seeing you, what you're doing is you're actually investing in getting folks counted. For each individual you motivate, it's $20,000 of federal funding. A family of 5 is $100,000. So that 1 hour that you invest in this caravan in your own town, you're talking about bringing in federal funding. Just from one family of 5, it's $100,000. And we're talking about for infrastructure, parks, lighting, and roads. And I have a flyer up there for you, a copy of that. That basically states what I'm saying of what it's being funded for. Health clinics, the schools, public transportation, roads, playgrounds, and community centers for seniors. So that is why I'm here to respectfully, we want to have you participate by you investing that 1 hour of time and helping us get the word out, and also being part of the whole process of us visiting the various communities too of Livingston. Because that's very important that we get everyone in the process get counted. Because if not, we will continue to lose funding of federal funds like what happened in 2010. Right now we're doing pretty good, but we have some census tracts that are very low responding. And this is why the message that we're using is the caravan. And what happens with a caravan is basically we hand out information on the census, but more importantly, is that we also have the posters information of what the census is about. But you as individuals have your vehicles or the trucks or fire trucks involved, so they could see you. So people don't have to go to a specific area. They just come out from the front yard. But remind them, you need to be counted, and these are the reasons. So I'm here to invite you, but also as leaders, be there to support the community, be visually there, participate, so that way we are reinvesting that presence back by having people counted with federal funding into this community. And that's what's important. Many of our small towns are hurting, and in 10 years, or the next 4 or 5 years, there will be major impacts, but we're going to be needing that federal funding. And I know there's going to be one scheduled on the 22nd of this month, and we'll be also providing some of the items you could decorate your vehicles. Other programs or areas have actually made their decorations as well, and we've had a variety of lowrider cars to vintage cars to vans that were so diverse in some of these caravans. It was hilarious, and different types of music going on too. So everyone's unique, and it's what we put out is what we'll get back in investing in our communities. Thank you very much for your time. Any questions?
Any questions, Council?
Quick question. Can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Do you know what percentage of households have completed the census? Do you have any statistics on it?
Well, right now, we actually just had a meeting, but unfortunately, I didn't bring the data because I came here as soon as I could for this meeting and the one before it. But the numbers are not at the California state numbers right now, standard at all. So for us, when you look at anything that's below that, we have to be really alert that we need to do some more outreach and more creative methods of getting a better count. What we're also doing is that we're also working with other nonprofit organizations in the county that are doing phone banking for us, that are following up. They're also doing events, and they're also doing caravans. We're all in it together. That's how we look at it. And we need to come together to move it forward. If you're at a 20 or a 30, that's very low. If we're closer, the number right now for California is 63.2, I believe.
we're not near that at all. So we're at that hump of that, okay, this is as bad as it could get. Now we need to get it just over, so that way the numbers start to increase, that, you know, stay at a lower level. And by doing various events that are safe with COVID-19 guidelines and the county guidelines and city guidelines, we can meet those goals. We're a lot better than we were in 2010, though, surprisingly. But still, 1/3 of funding is not, we lost 2/3. So this, I just try to get it up to 50%. And if you get it at 60.3, that's great, because and the conditions that we're in, it's been challenging. And then also we'll have enumeration also following up. So that's an additional, for those that did not respond.
When is the deadline to complete the census?
The deadline is by August, but we're telling everyone to complete it now. Today, call in. The biggest emphasis, the easiest method is calling in Spanish. We have multiple languages that we support. You call in, and you can still be cooking dinner, a family of 5, you'll get done within 10 to 14 minutes by phone. They do all the work for you. And you just answer the questions, and you're done. If you do it online, it's quicker, but we understand the digital divide. So that's why we're really pushing for the phone service, because it helps them get counted. And they do all the work for them. They just answer the questions. And
If you
go
do,
on 2020.gov.
if you do it online, is there other languages you could do it, or is it just English? If you do it online, is there other languages on there that you could access?
Yeah, you have other languages that we support. But again, there's a number that you can call, and it gives you the list of all the languages, 59, what we support, and at what levels. And you go to census2020.gov.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Any question from the public?
I don't have any questions, but it's that I know this is how important this is to our town and what it means for our development. So again, I want to share with you, and not only just share with you, but Ms. Ramos had let you know and invited you. I'm just letting you know we need to be there. So as part of the caravan, as the public and as the city's leaders, it is July 22nd at 7, and it is going to be about 5 to 6 cars, not big, but I know that we've already had the cooperation with our Livingston PD. I've reached out to them. We also have other support groups that I've made contact with that we'll be able to identify, as you already have with the mapping out of the residents that we need to approach in the caravan. So I think the more that city officials and elected officials are present, the more that our citizens will be asked to do this in response to our calling out to them, reaching out to them, because on their own, if they haven't done it by now, and you've been at our meetings before, if they haven't done it now, we are really needing that push and that drive to get those numbers counted, because we desperately need that money coming into our city. So again, I'm expecting you too, Mayor Pro Tem.
Have you guys reached out to the fire department?
Yes, I reached out to Captain Alvis. Okay, and I've also tried to contact our religious leaders to speak at their masses or their services. And I've also contacted Deriva Produce, A.B. Thomas, Yagi Brothers, Albert's Farms, and Dallas. Okay. Again, reaching out to our communities that might not have access to computers or be able to navigate through. I mean, we have someone getting on Zoom, so, navigating through the phone system. So whatever help that we can provide on behalf of our city, I'm in. And just to let you know, too, that the business community has stepped up, that we're able to work with some of the packing houses, some of the processing plants here,
that are helping us get the word out to their employees. And that was very key because they were fearful and said, no, this information is confidential. It helps you with your free lunch program, your WIC program, your training, education, 10 years, your children, if they're 7 or 8, they'll be in college for college scholarships, the federal grant money. So they've stepped up. Now we need to have our leaders here also be at that same level that they're willing to work with us. Now that we're at that hump with this COVID-19 has made it very challenging, but we're overcoming it by us working together and moving forward so we could have those revenues for our next 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
And if any of you want to have a themed vehicle, you can have a themed vehicle as well, okay?
Thank you.
Oh, and here was a little bit. That was it.
Mr. Moran?
Yes, okay. Good evening, Jose Moran, Livingston, California. Can you hear me? Yeah? No?
He said he didn't want to.
Yeah? Hear me? Okay. All right, so just to piggyback on what Ms. Patricia was saying, we just finished recording a couple of videos, informational videos, one in Spanish and one in English, that we're going to send out to the city and kind of send it out to the community probably tomorrow morning. So, you know, kind of like the same thing to keep on encouraging the community to make sure they are registered and they do the process for the census, which is really important. Also, another thing, I wanted to say thank you to Jackie and her department for putting out the word out for to the community to come out and clean up the rose garden. And thank you to Ms. Batista that she stepped up to the plate and she was out here along with Merced County RCC and Livingston Lions were the ones that helped out, and it looks great. Let's see, and also on Thursday, I think it's the 11th. I lost track of timing already. But this coming Thursday from 12 to 2, Merced County RCC and some volunteers are going to be distributing food boxes across the street at the park. It's Core Park. I keep on forgetting the name of it. So is this coming Thursday from 12 to 2? Or if they run out before then everything is going to start at 12. And so just to make sure that the public knows, and there's going to be more information out there starting tomorrow as well. And then just a question for the council. I'm not sure if what is the process, or what is the actual planned process I know that we haven't had a chief of police since March. Is that in the plans to do it sometime soon, or is that going to be saved until up to the election? Well, to make it formal, I know that he's the interim right now, unless, I don't know if he's been already, if he's the official, not interim chief.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Moran, for the question. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So, my apologies. I should have communicated this out a little earlier. I basically have named Mr. Soria the actual chief until next year, June, when he plans on retiring. And I anticipate in about 6 months or so, we're going to start the recruitment process and install a permanent chief at that point forward.
Good. Perfect. So now we don't have to call it interim anymore. All right, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else in the public?
So just a point of clarification, council still needs to approve his contract, which we've been negotiating as of now, but he's going to be the permanent.
I gotta just clear that up. Once the contract is over, the position will be all the way to next June, not 6 months, right?
That is correct. What I communicated was that between now, when he retires next year in June, then at that point, that position will be vacant, but we're going to start at least 6 months in advance for the recruitment process.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public? Anybody from home wanting to speak on the citizen comment? Please unmute your phone and go ahead. I'm sorry? I'm calling for any, does anybody else wish to make a citizen comment? You can use that one over there. Well, she could. You want to use your own phone, you can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, I do want to thank the City of Livingston for all for your support for the VFW Post 8327, the auxiliary. However, my personal comment is just me. I look around the room and we're all wearing face masks and or a face shield. And as leadership, you all are sitting up there as council and the mayor. I'm just questioning why you all are not wearing a face mask or a face shield. If it's already mandated for us to wear one. And I understand it's uncomfortable, but that's my personal question is, you know, we're all surrounded here and we're all mandated by the governor to be wearing a face mask. So that's one of my concerns here. Because old saying is, you know, actions speak louder than words, just as our leadership and our government, you know, if they're not wearing a face mask, then what does that tell the public? Everybody has different immunity systems. I'm just stating that. Other than that, I want to thank Maria Baptista for her constant support for the VFW Post 8327 and the auxiliary. And thank you for enforcing and also stating as far as the census that it is quicker to make a phone call versus the internet, because I went online, there's quite a few questions that I think it'd be easier if I would have called. Other than that, I just thank you all.
Thank you. As far as mask, you never see me outside in town where I'm not wearing it. Here, it's kind of difficult to wear a mask and try to run the meeting and everything. I know it's not an excuse, but that's the reason I'm not wearing it. I do have it with me. So when you first saw me, I'm sure you saw me, I was wearing a mask. Well, I do wear a mask, and I strongly believe in the mask that it should be worn by everybody. I do believe in that. Okay? Anybody else for citizen comment?
Yeah, I've got a question if you can hear me.
Go ahead, please state your...
Andrea, thank you. I just wanted to add, and I know, you know, we are sitting up here as leadership. I do have a face covering. I carry it with me, although that may not be the mandate, but I am prepared to, within a 6-foot distance to, and I'm not deliberately trying to get anybody. I've been home quarantined, so again, I believe safety is the issue here. But again, so is the 6 feet. I'm well. You can take my word for it or not, but again, I want to be able to protect the community. I'm not out running about, and I'm quarantined, so I feel safe being here. You are all protected. You're protecting yourself, and I think that's what what I advocate is to protect yourself. Use your own wisdom on how you proceed into the outside of your home. So again, I appreciate that, and I know that I don't want to disappoint anybody as a elected official, but again, I do practice the social distancing and the stay-at-home order on only going out when I have to. So thank you.
Does anybody from the public wish to make any more citizen comment?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, please identify yourself.
Catherine Shell Rodriguez, Livingston, California. My question has to do with the police chief and police captain recruitment process. Will there be a citizens interview board like there was for the last position that was recruited for?
Hey, Catherine, this is Jose. If you can hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, yes, absolutely. We will have a citizens and also a professional panel. And so we'll use the same process as back in 2012. So, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Okay, any other citizens comment? Hearing or seeing no one coming forward? Citizens comment is now closed. We'll go on to a consent agenda. Items on the consent are routine and non-controversial and will be enacted by one vote unless a separate action is requested by city manager, city council member. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless the members of the city council or city manager request the second to be removed. I believe I did have a request for that warrant, one of the warrants. Councilwoman Batista, you say you have a question on check number 692?
Mayor, this is in regards to the federal plan, I believe it's the warrant for
There you go.
Okay. This warrant is to the. Did you get a
Here.
Okay.
Anyways, it is for warrant
Q for the general plan. I just wanted to know, I know that we're paying them, an X amount of dollars, but I just wanted to know, and I think you had alluded to it previously, where we are looking at the process. Is there a way that we can get some updates of where they are in line with after the kickoff meeting, which was held in May, and then a list of things that are done in between. So just knowing that this is a constant effort from the group that was hired, hearing from them kind of eased my curiosity of knowing what their process was and how far they've gotten, what they need from the community, or who they're contacting in the community, and who's on their committee, or just knowing some of that information would help. So then that's the discussion.
Yeah.
Some questions I have.
Yeah. Thank you, Councilwoman Baptista. So what I'll do for the July 21st meeting, I'll compile a lot of the things that they have currently doing, because it's a multi-pronged process. There's different activities going on, but I like your questions, so I'll make sure that on the July 21st meeting we can give an overview of a lot of the questions that you have.
Any other questions? Okay, consent agenda, we have 2 items. Number 2 is the approval of the warrant register dated June 30, 2020, and the approval of the minutes of the meeting held May 19, 2020. Item number 4 was pulled for another date. So does anybody wish to make a motion at this time?
Make motion to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion by Councilmember Aguilar. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Batista. May I have roll call, please?
Roll call, Councilmember Baptista?
Yes.
Councilmember Aguilar?
Yes.
Councilmember Kane?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
He's not.
Mayor Summer?
Yes. Yes.
Motion approved by a vote of 4-1.
Thank you. Going on to discussion of potential action items. Number 5, this is a resolution to update the City of Livingston Parks and Recreation fee policy, number 2008-09.
Yes,
And
Mr. Mann. I'd like to start off the conversation.
Sure, go ahead.
So for councils and for the public, what we're going to be talking about today is just discussion and framework and direction. So no action will be taken this evening, but we do want to get input. At this moment in time, I'd like to turn it over to Jackie Benoit, our Recreation Superintendent.
Can you unmute your phone? Did you hear?
No. No.
Yes.
I don't hear her. Did you unmute her?
I don't know what number you're on. What's your number? She's not registered, so it's hard.
All right. So in light of our discussion tonight, originally I planned to bring you a fee schedule, or, bring the resolution and get everything that I had wanted to present tonight. However, in light of our second item, which was to talk to you about raising fees for our sports programs, I was advised by the attorney that we needed a fee schedule. So rather than looking at all of this tonight, we're going to combine the fee schedule that I've been working on. And so at the next meeting, we can pass it as a lump sum rather than a little bit here and a little bit here and a little bit here. So The reason that I'm bringing this to you is because this policy was written and passed in 2008. So nothing has ever been changed in here, from our park rental fees to if we have to send somebody out. So I'm getting feedback, so I'm hearing myself.
Which phone are you on?
So if I have to send a supervisor out to a locked facility or to turn lights on, at the pay rate that is listed in our fee policy, we're actually losing money to rent those facilities out. So it was time to bring it to you, since our minimum wage was only $8 when this was put together, and now our minimum wage is $13.50 as in January. You can see that our fees are a little off. So this is really a great policy, but it does need to be updated. What is in this policy, I'm going to give you guys a PowerPoint, but I thought this would go a little bit quicker and more concise. So our policy, it sets guidelines for how fees are determined, what our cost recovery will be, the types of fees we have, fee waivers and variances, who has the authority to issue those, what our user classes are, what's the determination of a resident or a non-resident team, our user group priorities, our facility reservation procedure, what our park inventory is. I mean, there's just a number of things that this wonderful policy holds. So there are just a few changes, and I actually did take this before our Recreation Commission, and we had a great discussion about it last 2 Thursdays ago. And the reason we're updating the policy is, one, our current fees are not covering our costs. Field use has increased. Our priority use has not been clear. Proof of residency needed to be a little bit better defined. Our park inventory has grown since 2008, and our rules portion was not complete. So those are changes that we're going to be adding. So one of the things that we're going to address is, our old policy says that if you have a team and 75% of the people on your team live here in Livingston, then that's considered a resident team. However, in light of getting rosters from all of our soccer teams, football, some of our travel softball leagues, some of our adult soccer leagues, the only group that even met the requirement of being a resident team was youth football. And so we looked at some numbers. A lot of other communities, if you want to be identified as a resident team, they consider 51% as being a resident team. So that was one of the issues that I'm going to be bringing before you guys. Otherwise, all of the rest of the teams, they are not resident teams. Excuse me. The other issue is our verification process. If you're going to prove to me that you're a resident team, how do we go about doing that? And it is clearly stated in our policy that we're going to be amending. We are also, since we've had a number of teams outside of Livingston, as well as kind of a little battle going on for the use of our facilities, we have come up with a procedure for league facility reservations, so that people aren't calling our department 2 days in advance and saying, oh, I want to use it for a game on such and such day. And they haven't been really following our procedure of giving us a schedule so we know when they're going to be out there. It's just, they just keep calling and wanting or change. What we are doing with some guidelines as far as a league and you want to use our facilities, if you are playing during February or So if you're a non-resident team and you sign up by that deadline and a resident, that non-resident team would still have priority because, and they follow the that. Did you guys just hear that?
Yeah, it's a delay there.
Yeah. It just said my battery was low. Okay, so one of the other items that we updated is we have added so many parks since 2000, what the parks are and what their amenities are. All right, the other issue that we had talked about briefly, even during one of our, I believe it was a staff report, is that we are currently really not charging a non-resident fee to our players. And so one of the suggestions that the Recreation Commission had was instead of 25% more on top of the fee, that we would just charge non-resident youth $5 more for whatever program. Like if they're going to sign up for karate and it's $45, but they don't live in Livingston, they would pay $50 instead of $45. So that's listed in here. Our rules, we only had 5 rules listed in our park and field rules. And so we decided we needed to update it with the municipal code of 9-8-1 so that the same rules in our paperwork were the same as the ones that were posted in the park. All right. So in the very last section is recommendations for fee increases for our parks. A survey went out in 2019 and Livingston is 43% less than all of our outlying areas to rent a park. And we are, the Recreation Commission is recommending that our fee would go from $30 to $40, which is still less than all the outlying communities. All right. Our pool, we are looking at going up, but we'll include this in on the fee schedule. It's the minimum wage has gone up. Again, we're not covering the costs that the folks are paying to rent enough to pay our staff to work the events. So, and those are listed also in your packet. Is there any questions or any concerns or, one of our rec commissioners was actually here for a while, but then he had to go to, you know, just to give his insight. And
Okay. Want to test it again?
hello?
There you go. Okay. Okay, council, any questions?
If we were to adopt those increases, when would it be effective? Could it be pushed out to a later date or effective immediately? Or be up to council?
I believe it, Jose, if you could help me on that, but I believe you could set an effective date. The resolution would still pass, wouldn't it? But then you could set the date that you wanted the fees to go into effect.
Or could it go progressively, like, you know, with time, not just throw a $10 increase right away, considering the times? I don't know. I mean, obviously we're not having much recreation sports or activities right now, but maybe that's an option.
Just keeping in mind that every time we have a facility rental for soccer or for baseball, or even for our Walnut party room, we are not, well, actually the party room we are, but the field rentals, it cost us $36 to send somebody out and we're just collecting $28. So we're losing money on those rentals. So that might be a little bit more urgent to look at versus maybe a fee increase for something else.
But my concern is that it's been like this since 2008, and then all of a sudden we're gonna push an increase like that instead of since way back then have some kind of incremental increase throughout the years. I mean, obviously it's not your fault. I'm not saying that, but it's the people that were sitting up here. So we need to be responsible and look at that and not just throw a significant increase, right away.
Well, and just as an encouragement to you guys, we are still, even with our increase, cheaper than any of the outlying parks that anybody could go to.
Go ahead. Okay, come on, Ms. Renee. Can you unmute yourself? Oh, public? Can you unmute yourself? You said 9111? Oh, yeah. Okay, that's.
Okay. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
All right. So, Councilmember Aguilar, so very good point. So definitely, you can actually say.
No, we can't hear you.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
That's not the phone. Oh, it's unmuted.
Testing 1, 2, 3. All right, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, so as relates to specifically to your question, certainly through resolution, we can actually phase in, let's say, you can start off with $5 or, or 250 and then 250 and then 250, whatever you want, whatever council would like to do in that regard, it's certainly possible. And so we can work in that direction so that it's not all in one, all phased in at the full $10 right off the bat.
When that resolution comes up to council, I would like to see an option like that. I mean, you could bring other options too, but I would like to see that option on the table. Just because I think it's only fair to stagger it. I know the urgency and I know we're the lowest price or cost in the area, but at the same time, it's only fair that we could do it that way.
Well, would you like to see it phased in every quarter, or would you like to see it get phased in half in one fiscal year and then half the next fiscal year? Just a little bit of direction so that we can kind of figure this out.
I mean, what does council have any thoughts about that?
Okay. Huh?
So the options are by quarter or by fiscal year.
Just bring up both. Bring both.
Okay.
Actually, I have a whole different idea. I know during our current times, money may be really tight, but our parks aren't open, so we're not even collecting those now or whenever the effective date would be. But tacking on the $10 is way low. We've already heard Jack mention that it costs $26
$36 to bring someone up to set up a facility?
For Alverness Field and the soccer field, for rentals at both of those places. The park rentals, we don't have to send anybody out. So the urgency on the park, you know, the picnic areas, the $10 is, you know, just your pleasure, whatever it is that you guys want to do. But I just
I'm
did,
even seeing that. Yeah, I'm even seeing that is the cost. I mean, being that much lower than our surrounding cities is a really a good deal, especially if we're allowing a day use of 12 hours. If we do something like that, and also if it costs $10, then we need to split that, you know, morning use or afternoon use. You know, more people being able to use the park and not give a $40 fee and be out there all day. I mean, if they can be out there all day, then my feeling is that they can produce a bigger fee, because again, they're entertaining their families, providing food for day use out in the park facility. So again, I need to revisit that and come up with a fee that, I mean, obviously, you know, $10 is bought here, but I'm thinking people can pay a little bit more, and that by staggering, you know, what are we looking at? 50 every 3 months. So, and if we're going to make a change, it should just be put into the full cost, even bigger. That's my thing.
Just for me, I know it might be cheaper in Livingston and in other cities or whatever, but we also have to consider our demographics, our household medium income, all the things that affect our specific community compared to Turlock, Merced, Atwater, all of that.
Thank you. Anybody else? For me,
yeah, I have a question. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's Raul Garcia. Is it for me, or who are you guys addressing? Because I haven't been.
You and me. Tim, go ahead.
Member Aguilar Park, and then I know Councilmember Bautista said that, I mean, it's a low increase. However, like Aguilar said, I mean, just where we're at, you know, the timing of this thing, $10 might be a lot for a family. Just one, you know, they're going to go sign them up and it's $10 right then and there. So I agree with the increase, but with time. So that's my point on that.
Go ahead, ask the question. Okay. Anything to the actual?
I mean, we should take all of this in consideration. So that's all I have on this item as of now.
Okay. Thank you. For me, I know our fees are low, and I understand where Councilman is coming from. But one of the reasons we kept our fees low over the years, it was because our demographics, our people can't afford a lot. And so we, over the years, we looked at an investment, not necessarily a break-even point. So I agree that fees probably need to be looked at. but I think we need to bring back a proposal for a step, not all at once. $10 to somebody may be too much, not enough. But if you got 50 kids, there are people out there living pretty much on paycheck. You know, you gotta make good decisions for them. So I am for more of a trade-in. So that, council, any discussion? Do we want them to bring it back as a, okay?
Can I make another comment?
How you want?
So what Merced does is they charge by the hour. So if you want to use the picnic area from 10 until 2, then it's $10 an hour. So you would pay $40 for that 10 till 2. And we could come up with a different rate if that's what you guys decided. But if you want that option, I can bring that option too.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Okay.
So,
go ahead, Councilwoman.
What is being done in regards to, I believe you mentioned it at the commission meeting, Recreation Commission meeting, is that even as a resident, is the non-resident fee, is it, I'm trying to find it here.
So the non-resident fee is already over 25%. It was set high to begin with years ago. It's $84 to use the park if you're a non-resident. We could go back through. Most folks that are non-resident don't come here to rent our parks. If they are a non-resident, they find a relative to come rent the park for them, and that's just the reality of it. So we didn't touch those. We didn't touch the fundraising or the nonprofit price because they normally ask for a waiver and pay nothing anyway. So that was our logic on only the resident fee being touched.
I had a question too about the agreement. What does that look like? Is that us or is that Merced Union High School District?
The pool, say that again, the pool what?
What kind of agreement when the high school uses that facility, what is there some type of a?
So we are on a joint use agreement with the pool, well, actually a number of the facilities at the high school. Up until, well, for the next couple of years, unless the council would like to open and then they would just figure out how to fund it. We lost quite a bit of money at the pool because it wasn't being cared for properly. So unless great things have changed and chlorine levels, I mean, we had to close, people were upset, we had to give refunds. So when we went through our budget analysis, any programs that were drastically losing money, we actually cut. So, but this is a part of this fee schedule. So in the event that we do open up, it will be in place.
We're not making a decision, but we're still having a discussion. Yeah. Okay, this item is open to the public. Does anybody wish to make a comment? If not, then council, any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Just one last comment on my end. So, of course, recreation over the years has been basically subsidized by the general fund. So just wanted to restate that so that everybody understands the dynamics.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to come back to council with a couple of different options. One on a quarterly basis, and then one where we split, and then you guys can give some direction and go from there.
And just to make sure everybody has that space, and then option one, that's what we decide to do. So go ahead and put that in there. Option one as well. Okay? Any further discussion? No, if not, then we'll go to our next item. So are we going to talk about the item number 6 at all? Go ahead, Liz.
Well, I would like to bring that back with the full fee schedule so you can see all the other programs and how it will all work together versus just.
So you don't wish to discuss it at this time?
No, since you guys have the paperwork, you're welcome to take a look and call me with any questions.
Got it. Because we did agendize it and we didn't pull it, I will open up to the public. Does anybody from the public wish to comment on this item at this time? If not, council, any comments? Okay, go ahead and we'll ask the questions and then we'll bring it back, okay? Now, item number 7, this is a discussion and addressing on Measure V projects and Measure V expenditures. Mr. Ramirez?
Yes, Mayor and Council. I wanted to bring this, actually this item was asked that I bring forward by our council, one of our council members, a couple of our council members actually. What we wanted to do today was kind of give you an overview of Measure V and the types of projects that we actually conduct with Measure V. So every year, as you know, we have to provide, well, there's actually reports that go out to the Measure V committee through MCAG, but as a council, we take the council, which is a capital improvement plan, and then we actually outline a number of different projects, okay, and council then approves those projects, and we basically start to address all those projects. One project that was approved by Measure V that's going to be coming before you next week, Tuesday, there's going to be a bid opening for a slurry seal project. And so there's multiple places around town where we're going to be slurry sealing. But once again, there's a CIP list, which is the Capital Improvement Plan project list. And on there, back in March, that was approved, and it had all of the different projects all throughout town that were programmed to get done. Okay? Every specific project, we have to outline the cost associated with that project because we have to report that back to MCAG. And then there's a citizen oversight committee the MCAG actually has, so that make sure that all the projects that are actually programmed, executed, and completed meet the intention of Measure V. And so that's why that oversight. Okay. Anthony, I don't know if you have anything that you would like to add with regards to Measure V. Also, we have to take photographs. We have to put the Measure V sign, and we have to submit a bunch of photographs continuously as part of the Measure V. And there's a 20% set aside that's used for that has to be used for transit and multimodal, and then the rest is for sidewalks, slurry sparing, and the like. Anything you want to add?
No, at this time, there's not much I want to add that you haven't covered already, Jose. Can you hear me? Yeah. I think I cover pretty good detail when I do my presentations on what projects that Public Works is working on and show the pictures and the areas that the projects are being completed at. And as Jose said, there's an expenditure report that's sent into MCAG quarterly. An oversight committee has responsibility to oversee that.
Is there any questions from council?
Can you unmute your phone?
Yes. So So as it relates to the streets, a very good question, Councilmember Gagandeep. So there is a pavement management system that we actually participate with the county on. And so there's an assessment that's done on all the streets, and they're categorized in terms of bad, worst, you know, and it only requires a fog seal or a slurry seal of sorts. So we basically follow that pavement management system. So we don't just arbitrarily just pick roads and say we're going to fix something. We just basically follow that pavement management system based on that. Okay. As it relates to sidewalks, curb gutters, and things of that nature. So we actually also do what is called a ADA compliancy assessment. So we go around and see where we have non-compliance, and we try to tackle, you know, all four corners if possible. It all just depends, and so we basically do it that way. As it relates to the alleys, I don't know the alleys specifically. Maybe engineering or public works might answer that question.
Not really on the alleys, but we do rely on the residents to also call in, because we can't be everywhere all the time. So we do rely on the citizens to call in if they see trip hazards or issues on our sidewalks. But did you have a specific question on the alleys?
Can you hear me? The funding for the alleys is what we call CMAC, it's congestion mitigation, air quality. So it's geared, it's also transportation, but it's geared towards reducing pollution and emissions. So that's how those are funded, and the priority is based on what you have that's unpaved. So it's to reduce what you call particulate matter and then emissions. So it's a different pot of money.
To piggyback on what Mario was talking about, our city engineer, we also submit individual applications. Like for instance, when we did our drive around, you guys mentioned, you know, Max Foster Park and that area there. So we're going to go after funding specifically to address that. So we're not using Measure V. That would be a little different process, but we're specifically saying, hey, we think that this fits those guidelines. And actually, we advocated for them to change the rule, because before, a lot of money couldn't be used for this. It was typically used for, you know, buying street sweepers and other things that are called lifeline money, which is CMAC money. Okay, so we advocated, they changed the rules, and so we're going to go after that money to do that work.
Quick questions. Yeah, I appreciate you guys going after the CMAC money for that corner on Walnut for the sidewalk and all that stuff. I appreciate that. That's
yes.
Exactly the one you're talking about, correct? Yeah. Okay. And then in regards to the Measure V stuff, so I know we approve it annually here at the council level, and then MCAG approves it. Is there a process to change the projects on there or review them mid-year, or is it once we approve them, they're pretty much set?
Yeah, no, clarification. So, of course, for efficiency purposes, you know, we basically know all of the different, we do an assessment, and we basically do all of the projects. You see that there? We do all of the projects, and I'll pass this along, and you guys can pass it down. And you could see in advance all the projects. So we don't specifically, we don't specifically just go one by one. So they're all listed, and then we tackle each one of those projects. If you wanted to do each project a standalone, that would require a lot more work, a little bit of inefficiencies, but certainly something that we can do. But each project is listed there, and then we basically go after those projects.
My question was more like, let's say something urgent comes up and we have to like try to use some of that money. Is that possible?
Oh, yeah. So there is some flexibility there because we can always, we have an allocation that's given to us. And so we can actually make some modifications. And we actually asked, and you participated in it, for some money up front. Or because you got different kinds of money, you got regional and you got local. So there is some flexibility there. So there's a project that needs attention. Yes, we can certainly present a new project or have a project wait while we address another one.
Okay, I just want to clarify that. Another quick question: what kind of projects do Measure V funds? The local projects. What kind of stuff could we do?
Okay. Okay, so that list that I passed around has a lot of those projects, but just in general, so we can do crosswalks, we could do curbs, gutters, sidewalks, slurry sealing of projects, fog sealing, and I think that's pretty much it. Oh, and some paving, yeah. No.
Transportation, yeah. Measure the transportation, geared towards transportation, so it would be everything related to transportation. A bench? Probably not. unless you put it on the sidewalk.
Good try, that one. That was a good one.
Do we have to take bids for it, or we do it now?
Very good question. So, to answer your question, yes and no. Yes, like for instance, the slurry seal, those are really major projects. We don't have any in-house, people that can do that. We do some minor work. Okay, anything that we can do in-house, we just do it. So you've probably seen Main Street, and they cut out some areas and they paved it. No bidding out. We did that work. But we have to account for and report on everybody who worked on that project and the amount of time specified and the materials and everything. We have to report that. So the next piece is, like for instance, we have a bid opening coming up next week in July. July 14th, I believe, is next Tuesday. So that project is a pretty big project. That's not something we can do. So we bid those projects out. On the concrete projects, like sidewalks, curbs, gutters, sidewalks, all those, we can do that in-house. So we do those in-house. And again, we have to account for their hours and the materials and everything. So we do both.
Let's say concrete. Do we charge prevailing wages for that, or we have hourly rate?
Very good question. No prevailing wage for in-house projects because those specific projects are done in-house. If we do outside, any project that's bid has to be prevailing wage. However, the employees who do work on the work get paid on an hourly basis, and if they do overtime, they get paid overtime.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you just, since we're in the Measure V topic, can you also talk a little bit about the regional project monies, just the clarification for the council?
So there's actually some Measure V regional project money. So I'll point you specifically to one project that we advocated for and was able to get the funding with the help of our supervisor and a lot of our electeds here. So on Hammett and Campbell, we anticipate, development happening in there rather than having a scenario like WINTON Parkway where we're trying to catch up and always behind the 8 ball. We went out and said, look, that we know that these corners are going to get developed, and we asked for an advance funding about $1 million. And we got that money up front, and so that is a specific regional project. So that's separate than the local money. And we had to come up with a funding agreement with MCAG to do those specific projects. The other example is the one that's going on right now as we speak. which is the Winton Parkway. We also got money there, and we had to get a funding agreement with MCAG.
Yeah, that's correct. That we advocated for the $1 million, and then it was $500,000 for the Winton Parkway. And I know there's a list of projects, and one of them it's the platform for the ACE.
That is correct.
Thank you for clarifying that, just for everybody to understand the different funds.
Oh, thank you for the question.
So what I'm understanding is that there is money coming over to fix our street.
You need to unmute.
Okay. Yes? Okay, so what I understood you say was over there on Hammett and Campbell, will that, for the overpass? So that's gonna, so that we're not going behind it, that we're gonna.
Yeah, we were trying to be proactive and actually do a full build out of that whole intersection. Now, that's one intersection, but whoever develops in that area has to pay their fair share. And then based on the traffic studies that are done, there's going to have to be improvement at each one of those stops and even on the other side off of F Street. It all depends on what's developed and who's impacted based on the traffic study.
Any other questions? Public, any questions? Anything else to add, Mr. Ramirez?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right, council, any further business?
I would like to have a discussion next council meeting if we could put on the agenda in regards to the process to put items on the agenda, like what's required, what's the current policy. Maybe we could look at that again and see if there needs to be changes. I know currently there's obviously a way of doing it, but in regards to just during the week or before the meetings, if there's something we want to put on the agenda for discussion, whatever, what's the process and how, what's the current policy.
Okay, it'll be on the next agenda. Okay, council, any further business? Good night, we're in adjournment. Thank you.